enemies when you got friends like Ron MacLean, I'll tell you, boy! Ron MacLean is talking about Don Cherry and his departure from Coach's Corner. Kind of funny that this tweet says that we're in the year 2919. I wonder what hockey would be like at that point in time. I'm coming at this with the friendship perspective. I'm not going to be saying if I support MacLean's views, if I'm supporting Cherry's views about the whole ordeal. And it's ironic that MacLean is saying that Don is the one that is attached to things and won't let things go when he's talking about this again. And I'm not sure if it was Ron's business to divulge that Don Cherry had an ammonia scare a few years back. I think Don would have liked to have kept that secret, but also, is he saying that the ammonia scare was Don's long-term escape hatch from Coach's Corner? Very weird to make that accusation, especially the following Saturday during the first intermission. You did that 5-minute word salad, that long spiel where we didn't know which direction you were going. And I'll talk about why that's also ironic later on. And Ron MacLean knows, because he's worked with Cherry for decades, that Cherry would tend to use the term "you people" a lot. This is not to excuse what Cherry said, because I knew someone who was working in the studio at the time that was happening. They did the Coach's Corner segment where Don Cherry ends with that. He turns to Ron and goes, "What do you think?" And Ron MacLean goes, "I agree." And yes, it was clumsy what Cherry said, Mr. MacLean, but you also agreed with him, and I don't think he was happy with the outcome. You saying the attack on immigrants was improper and I was not happy with it, it goes against my ethics. Again, sir, you agreed with him on camera. Whether you were taken aback and you just wanted to cut to commercial, who knows, but it's out there, you said it. And going back to me knowing someone that worked in the studio, they ran this. Sportsnet ran this. They cut it. They edited it. Coach's Corner was famously on a 7-second delay. They ran with this segment and they left that part in, and they ran it 3 times for the various Sportsnet channels because they had, I think, 3 different games going on at that time. So they filmed the segment early, they do what they got to do, and then they put it out there. It wasn't until the next morning when someone on Twitter was like, what about this? And Ron MacLean accusing Don Cherry of using this as an exit strategy. What? Do you know this, Ron, or are you just speculating? Because that's not what it seemed like at all. Yes, Sportsnet was looking for any reason to fire this guy, but it wasn't as if Don Cherry was like, well, you know, I'm just not coming back after this. He wanted to come back to Coach's Corner. Again, he didn't want to capitulate to Sportsnet demands, whether they were right or wrong, but you didn't take your stand in the initial Coach's Corner when all this went down on that Remembrance Day. I empathize with you because of the situation you were in, but you can't say this now, all these years later. Oh, and him saying he doesn't have many friends? No one's asking this from you. I would love to know the context with this interview, because it's just some of the things that have been said here. I followed Ron MacLean's career, I've followed Don Cherry's career, I've watched these guys all throughout my life. I think that Ron MacLean is an introspective person, but some of these gaffes that are being said here, Don Cherry is 91 years old, he just lost his daughter. Why? I'm not looking for Don Cherry to get his job back, I'm not asking for Ron MacLean to step down. It's puzzling. Correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't the Grapevine going on next season? Wasn't that just the last episode of this season? Correct me on that, because I wasn't 100% sure. If Don had an ammonia scare, if Don was battling some illnesses, isn't that his business to disclose with the public? Why are you doing it? Ron MacLean knows that Don Cherry came from a generation where the men didn't talk about their feelings. They put up or shut up. Those were the only 2 options. And Don, grinding his entire life to where he got to, there's no way he was just going to divulge his personal feelings with anybody. Of course, when Ron MacLean talks, people are going to listen, especially when they're talking about Don Cherry because of the history that they have. What do you think about this entire situation between Ron MacLean, Don Cherry? Comment below, let me know.